Yesterday, I had experienced a great joy in going down to the cathedral in Philadelphia to witness two men ordained to the priesthood, two men who are really good friends of mine. And so, like anything, when you see a family member or a friend experience a great joy or accomplishment, you're filled with that same joy. But this joy was amplified by the gratitude that I had in this, my second year of finishing priesthood, second year and going on to my third. Just great gratitude remembering my own moment when I was ordained. The great joy that I was chosen by God. And these men got to share that same joy of being chosen. But this joy isn't just for priests or deacons. It is for you and for me. And this is made apparent in the gospel today. That Jesus, in his prayer, says that he has chosen you and I for himself. Yes, the good news today is Jesus has chosen you and I for himself. Again, we step into the gospel, the scene of at the Last Supper. And so we see the disciples gathered around Jesus as he's about to embark on a crisis. The greatest crisis the world had ever seen up until that point, and the greatest crisis the world will ever see. Man killing God. You can't get much worse than that. And so in this intimate moment where he gathers his apostles around, the ones he loved, he prays the Father to God in a way that everyone can hear. And he prays for many things, but in a particular way, he prays that they may consecrate themselves in the truth. Consecrate. It's one of those religious words that's thrown around a lot, but I don't think we really take a step back and know what it means. So consecrate, if we put on our linguistic glasses for a moment, means to make oneself holy with another. To make oneself holy with another. And again, we take another step back because people don't know what holy means. So holy means to set oneself apart. Not to, in a sense of superiority, but in a sense that people may look like a light on a lamp in a dark room, see it and go towards it. And so Jesus in this prayer says, consecrate them in your truth. I consecrate myself for them. It's his prayer that, God, you've given them to me. I want them to remain with me forever. I don't want them to be taken away. So set them apart with me. I have chosen them for myself. And not just for myself, but for you, and that means for joy, because it says that my joy may be shared completely with them. Completely. But again, this is not just for the apostles and the disciples 2,000 years ago. It's for you and for me, because Jesus has chosen you and me for that joy. The joy the world can't give. And so now we fast forward, and this prayer, this message is meant for you and me. For whenever the scriptures are read in Mass, it's not just a mere retelling of the story. Well, that was nice. No, we're brought into the moment, as they say, mystically. Like we're taken back in time, or rather that time is taken to us. Here and now. And so Jesus, through myself, and which I'm truly grateful for, he speaks these words again to you and me. Consecrate them, Father. Consecrate them in the truth. Because we are in the midst of a crisis in the world. The world, as Jesus says, he says it very plainly, the world which symbolizes everything that's not of God. Because, brothers and sisters, the world, forces in the world, the evil one in particular, doesn't want us to have this joy. And so the plan is to distract, to make disillusionments, to take us away from the truth, to take us away from God, to prevent us from consecrating ourselves with Him, to making ourselves holy with Jesus, to setting ourselves apart for that joy that He has in store for us. So how do we consecrate ourselves with Jesus? And I would suggest 3 ways. First, in our first reading, it says that there was a group of 120 persons in one place. That place was the church. That place was unity. This unity that Jesus prays for, that they may be one. So when one remains in the church, practicing their faith, seeking to deepen their faith, seeking to unite each other as one, because the world's all about division, the church strives for unity in Jesus. So striving to unite each other rather than divide. First step, seek unity in the church. The second, truth. Jesus says truth so much. And while we see in our first reading, leaders in the church may change, leaders in our government, cultures, the world will always be changing, the truth never changes because God never changes. So where do we find this truth? Well, God gives us truth. He gives us His Spirit, which communicates Himself in the church through His Word, in the Bible, and through the truth passed down through generations, the teachings of the church, here consolidated in the Catechism. These aren't just nice reads. These are essential for our journey to that joy that God wants us to have. So take up and read and consecrate yourselves in the truth. And then finally, to love. Truth cannot exist without love, because then you start bashing it over people's heads, you become a resounding gong, as Paul says, and you drive people away. Love as Christ loves on the cross, selflessly sacrificing, forgiving, drawing people in, so that we may all be one and have that joy. So all of these 3 steps, truth, unity, love, we experience here at the Mass as we come before this altar as one people, united with Jesus in praying to the Father. And then we receive that love in the Eucharist. Ask for the grace to unite yourself with the Lord. Don't miss this opportunity that's given to us every week, in fact, every day. You may not appreciate it now, but maybe ask for the grace to appreciate it a little bit more. This unity with the Lord that He so wants us to have as we hear in our gospel. Because Jesus has chosen you and I for Himself, and He longs for us to consecrate ourselves. Remember, to unite ourselves, to make ourselves holy with Him, so that we may have that joy completely, and we may remain with Him forever.